You muted. Yeah. Oh, shoot. What a way to start the show, everybody. Yeah, for me, I can see the microphone mute thing next to your name. So it's not even registered.
What about now?
Okay, now I hear you.
I didn't mute shit. Had me muted during my beautiful intro? Incredible. Incredible. Well, now nobody's getting the damn intro. That's what's happening. You know what time it is. If you're here, you know. I don't need to friggin' do an intro now. Why would it mute me? It mutes us automatically when you play a video. So, like, if I were to play our intro video again, it mutes you automatically. But then once the video's over, it unmutes you. So why the hell would I stay muted? Besides, the podcasting gods are out to get me. But either way, Raw sucked last night, Drew. So we're gonna talk about Raw.
Really?
Oh, I hated it. I thought it felt as much a taped episode of Raw that I've ever seen. Not.
I actually didn't even know it was taped.
Oh, it was taped, and it friggin' felt like.
Well, okay, there were moments that I could hear.
What a garbage episode of Raw. Don't get me wrong, like the matches and stuff were fine. We'll talk about it, but a whole lot of nothing happened on this Raw last night. A whole lot of nothing. However, with that being said, we're still going to talk about it. And we're going to talk about some SmackDown as well, because I thought SmackDown was a very good show. But yes, Raw was taped last week. I believe they are in Europe for a tour. Yeah, they had the fake crowd. They had the fake crowd noise last night. That was part of the reason why I hated it. Is they had fake crowd noise galore.
The thing that I got was Joe Tessitore definitely sounded like he was in a bathroom recording audio.
100%. 100%.
I was like, oh, that's definitely not actually Joe Tessitore sitting at the table right now.
Now, listen, I think as a 2-hour show, last night's episode of Raw felt a lot better than last week's episode of Raw, but it was also a taped episode of Raw that they could kind of put together and make it look like, you know,
we know that they're not really good at that.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, to me, it just felt like a taped episode of Monday Night Raw. But with that being said, there was stuff I liked, so let's dive into it. It was taking place for the second straight week, because it was one of those things where, like, later on in the night when Cody came out and he did his thing and he mentioned St. Louis, I was like, weren't they in St. Louis last week? I was like, what? I'm like, am I watching have I been watching the rerun?
That's right.
So he said St. Louis, and I'm like, they were in St. Louis last week. I'm like, have I been watching the same Raw from last week? Like, did I accidentally turn on the recording from last week? And then the crowd was dead because none of the noise we heard was their actual noise, because it was all WWE produced regardless. Yeah. We are building towards Crown Jewel. We are. But before we start talking about Crown Jewel and Raw and SmackDown, I want to talk to you guys about, as you can see under my little box here, our friends at NordVPN. Safest VPN you can buy. If you travel a lot for work, you travel a lot for vacations, maybe, family, whatever. If you're traveling, you want your main Wi-Fi settings, you want your data when you're on the road to be safe. Our buddies at NordVPN are the safest and fastest VPN money can buy. You have all your home settings right at your fingertips. You don't have to worry about strangers and wherever you're staying, stealing your data, doing all fun stuff like that. You don't have to worry about it. And for us wrestling fans, they're saying sometime next year, we're going to get discounted pay-per-views on the other brand that we talk about on Thursday sometime next year. Well, with NordVPN, you can change your location at any time and you can get some discounted rates right now, like currently for the one that's coming up next month that they're going to be doing. So, I actually took a trip to Lithuania over the weekend, Drew. I don't know. Yeah.
How
I
was
don't
the
know. I
weather?
didn't tell you. It was a quick little trip. It was only a day trip. But I took a
Okay.
day trip on Saturday to Lithuania. And I don't know if you know this, but the pay-per-views over in Lithuania, only $20. Only $20 as opposed to
Wow.
50. Just saying.
I would love to travel to all countries just so that I could get cheaper.
100%. 100%. So I got to take a quick little day trip. It's actually just like an evening trip, really. You would think Lithuania would take longer. It really didn't. But I was able to take a nice little trip to Lithuania. Only had to pay $20 for all, what was it? Wrestle Dream. And yeah, that's how we go. Germany's on my list, Sandy. I didn't really go to Lithuania. I just kind of used the NordVPN
I don't think you have to explain it.
to take a day trip. That's what I'm saying. But Germany is on my list, friend. Germany is on my list. You still got, yeah. Damn, I missed that network.
Lucky you.
I missed that network, man. That when that was at its height, oh my god, tremendous. All right.
On, Maggle.
$9.99. All right. So last night, St. Louis, Missouri, a taped edition from the previous week as they were in Europe on a UK tour. So they taped
I'm actually
some
now
stuff.
because I totally forgot that they.
Yeah.
I knew that it was obviously some of it was recorded because of Joe Tessitore's voice, but it didn't click with me that the whole show was pre-taped. So I didn't realize it until now. You said, "Oh yeah, they were in St. Louis last week."
Yeah.
Why did they say St. Louis again?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. That's how I honestly I didn't
misstep.
Well, that was my thing because I didn't even know it was taped, to be honest with you. But then when Cody came out around the 9:00 hour and cut that promo, and he said St. Louis, and I was like, what? And then that's when I kind of remembered. Then I was like, oh yeah, and that was yeah. And we got Ophelia in the chat as well. She's saying the network is still there in Canada as well, though. January, it's out of here. It's out of here in January. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for
We haven't had
popping
the
in the chat.
WWE network for what?
Oh,
5 years now?
yeah, something like that. Something like that. It's been a while. All right, but the show opened up with I know they actually didn't. They didn't. Cody didn't say that. Welcome until Monday Night Raw until 9:00. Rhea Ripley makes her entrance, and she heads down to the ring. She grabs a mic. She calls out Liv and Raquel. She says, after the beatdown last week, get your butts out here because I'm ready to return the favor. And enter Tiffany Stratton. We see Miss Money in the Bank make her way to the ring. She says that she is there to give Rhea a very important message from Nia Jax. And that message is that Rhea should stay out of her business or she's going to have herself a big problem. Rhea then says, it ain't Tiffy time. And either I'm getting my hands on Liv or Raquel, or I can welcome you back to Raw the Rhea Ripley way. So things are getting a little bit heated. They start getting in each other's faces. And then Liv and Raquel both attack, blindside both women. They beat them down. Raquel hits a good big boot on Rhea. Liv Morgan hits Tiffany with the briefcase. And they stand tall in the ring. And that's how this opening segment ends. Not a terrible segment. It makes sense with Tiffany being there. She is Miss Money in the Bank, so she is allowed to kind of float between shows pending on who she's going to pick to cash in on. So it makes sense that she shows up on Raw and the tie-in with Nia. I thought this was a pretty decent opening to the show. Nothing spectacular, but I thought it was pretty solid.
And all of it was really playing on what happened on SmackDown too. So,
Exactly. Exactly.
which
Um,
that was I really enjoyed that part on SmackDown, that whole ending sequence of Nia versus Naomi. That
yep.
was really great.
I like it a lot
Um,
too.
but yeah, I mean, this was perfectly fine. A good answer for SmackDown on Friday, and after when so now when we come back from a technical, okay, right, the technical
Technically, yeah. Technically, it happened before
before
SmackDown.
SmackDown,
Yeah, technically.
yeah. Um, the
Which that had to be weird for the people that were there at the taping last week of Raw because they watched the current episode of Raw, then they
right,
tape this, and you're seeing storylines that are happening after a show that hasn't happened yet. So you're in that arena watching it, and you're like, "Oh, all right, cool." And then you watch SmackDown, and then you're like, "Oh, that makes sense why they did that." Oh,
right.
okay, you know what I mean? It's weird, but anyway.
So, what I really, really found funny was the next segment where Adam Pearce is in the back with
Mhm.
Rhea, and then she's like, "Oh, I need this match right now. You give me both of them," and she wants to fight both Raquel and Liv
Yep.
by herself, and Adam refuses. He's like, "No, it has to be a tag team match." Um, and then Tiffany Stratton just happens to pop up.
Mhm.
And I'm like, "Why is he looking at her like that?" For a
Oh,
moment,
yeah,
and then he just
immediately.
looked at Rhea and said, "What about her?"
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
and
"Okay."
yeah, Rhea begrudgingly is like, "Fine." Like, she's like pouty, "Fine." And then, yeah, and they set up for the main event of the show. It's gonna be Raquel and Liv versus Rhea and Tiffany Stratton. And I was sitting there like, Rhea and Tiffany on the same team. Who did I please? Who did you know what I mean? Like, that's what I was going, Rhea and Tiffany on the same team. Like, who did in what prior life who did I please to give me that? That's my two favorites right there on a
Yes.
team together. I'm like, let's go, dude. Let's go.
Um,
And then
Join us on Thursday. We'll probably talk about Time Cop,
you
Joe.
think so? You think we're gonna
That
talk about
well,
time
it's
cop?
just it's Tony Khan's favorite thing.
It really is. So we get that match set up for later on in the evening. But our first matchup of the evening last night on Raw was also a women's tag team match. And it was for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill successfully defended against Damage Control, obviously Io and Kyrie. Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend, who we saw get a tag title match on SmackDown, they were at ringside, which I very much like how they're kind of having the NXT. You know, those belts are supposed to float between all three brands. Now, I know
Right.
Bianca and Jade were down in NXT last week, not in a tag title match, but I like how the NXT girls got, and it was a quick match on Friday, but they got a shot on SmackDown. I like that a lot. I like how they were here, even though, like we said, this technically happened before that last week. But I like how the NXT girls are up on the main roster. They're showing them. Lash Legend specifically, I think she's got a future on the main roster. She is very much improved, and she is a strong, strong woman. This was a good match, Drew. Again, there were things on this show that I liked. This was one of them. Um, with these four women, I mean, not much. You're not going to get a lot of bad things that happen
Right.
here. I will say there was a sequence towards the end of this match where there was some miscommunication between Jade and Bianca. Now, Jade and Bianca ended up retaining, um, and they did keep the belts. But the Metaphor and Jakara, they kind of got involved a little bit, distracting Io. Lash Legend punched Io Sky at one point. That kind of was towards the end that might have helped Bianca and Jade retain a little bit. Um, but there was,
It was a good match.
yeah.
Yeah, who do you think it when the eventual turn happens? Who do you think turns on whom?
It should be, in my opinion, Bianca should turn on Jade. And I think Bianca should be the bad person. However, I think they'll probably go the other way.
I think so too.
I think they'll go the other way, but I feel like I want. Yeah, there was Joel Pearl that said that the fans at Raw saw an episode of Raw before the week before Raw aired. It's yeah, that's funny.
That's what I would react.
Yeah, I know. I heard you say it, but I didn't. So it's one of those things to me where I feel like they'll have Jade turn. However, I would like Bianca to turn. I'm ready for heel Bianca on the main roster. I loved heel Bianca in NXT. Not that it would be the same character, but
she's been a babyface ever since she came up to the main roster.
Yeah,
right?
And she's been one of the top baby faces in the company. So obviously, I could understand why they would want to keep her a babyface because she's excellent at being a babyface.
It would be nice to see a little tweak in her character.
Yeah, and she's a very good heel, and I think there's a lot of fans that only watch the main roster that have no idea how good a heel Bianca can be. So I'm itching to see that, whether it's now or later.
Her and Montez should be
100%. I've said
incredibly heel douchebag couple characters.
They should.
It would be amazing. It really would.
If they ever want to pull the trigger on Montez being a single star. Yeah, I've been saying it on these Love Wrestling airwaves for years, but give me a heel Bianca and Montez power couple running one of the shows. That's all I need. Have them be champions. They're the coolest duo on one of the shows. Throw them. I don't care. Sooner than later, Montez, you got to build up to get to that. I get it, but yes, they would 100%.
I don't think it would take that long, honestly.
I don't either. The crowd and most people have been waiting for Montez to get that singles push for a few years now. And they've kind of, again, Street Profits are a good tag team, but what else do they need to do? They've already kind of done everything. So, but we'll see. After this match, you got Finn Balor. He's rolling up to Adam Pearce out back. He's demanding a rematch against Damian Priest. Pearce says, nope, I'm not giving you a rematch because your obligation is to defend those WWE tag team titles, which you hardly ever do. JD McDonough's like, what do you mean? And he goes, you don't defend them. And he goes, that's why I'm setting up a tag team tournament to create or to crown new challengers for you. And then Pearce rolls off and Balor is angry. We see Liv and Raquel. We see Liv kind of run up and she goes, hey, what's going on? Did we get our rematch with Damian? And Finn is like, didn't go well. And he kind of storms off. And then the pizza tag titles. And then and then Liv introduces, even though I thought, no, it was last week. It was just Dom and Liv and Raquel that showed up in the car, right? It wasn't the other guys. Yeah. So then Liv formally introduces Raquel Rodriguez to the other guys. And Carlito seems to have a little bit of a crush, maybe.
Yeah. Drop that apple.
On Raquel. He dropped that apple. He was taken aback by the beauty of Raquel. And so I think that could be a little fun little thing they do if Carlito is smitten. But yes, and that's how this segment ends. So we're gonna have a tag team tournament to crown new number one contenders. And then we're not getting the Damian and Finn thing yet. We're not getting the Damian and Finn rematch.
I'm fine with that.
I am too. We get a little vignette for American Made.
This was weird a little bit. It's funny, but also it screams Republican.
Well, yeah, I think that's the point. That's the point. That was the whole. I had so I was watching it in my little side living room over here, and in the main room, they could hear what was going on, and all of a sudden they just go, "Is that wrestling you're watching? You're still watching wrestling?" I'm like, "Yeah," and they're like, "Oh, all right," and I'm like, "What?" And they were like, "It just sounds like you're watching a political thing." And I was like, well, that's the point. I'm like, and I was like, thank you, Chad Gable. I'm like, that's him. It's Chad Gable now. He's bad guy. And she's like, bad guy. I'm like, yeah. She goes, well, at least someone in WWE's on the pulse. And I said, yeah, people that talk like that, usually not good people. But it is what it is. But that was definitely the vibe that they were going for. And I thought they did it well. I thought they did it
They
well.
even had a friggin' like Hummer.
Oh,
Like they
yeah.
were
They
Hummer,
had
like
everything.
full-on
They were
Army
leaning in.
America.
They were leaning in, man. The only thing they didn't have were like rifles with them, basically.
Yeah.
Like they were
And a
just
Trump
full.
2024 flag.
Yeah, yeah. They were just full on leaning into the tropes of those awful people. So then we get Braun Breaker cutting a promo. Here's the thing when it comes to this, Drew. I love Braun Breaker. I thought.
Yes, I really liked a lot.
Did you? I hated this.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. It's the same reasons he's been talking about for a month and like nothing. What? You've been talking about how you're better because you don't need your family for 2 months, Braun. This was nothing new. Now, the promo itself, he did very well. It was a very good promo. He got angry. There was like spit coming out of his mouth at the end. I liked the way he performed the promo, but he didn't say one new thing in this promo. And it was just like,
I don't think you have to say a new thing every time you talk.
No, I agree. But to me, it was just like, yeah, I came out and I shook your hand out of respect because you beat me. But then I attacked you the next week because of the same way I felt about you from 2 weeks. Then you wouldn't have done the respect.
Well, he said he didn't. He said, from what I got from it, was that he attacked again because he felt that Jay didn't respect him back the way that he gave respect after the
So when Jay called him back into the ring to let the crowd do the dogs barking for him, that's not showing Braun Breaker respect?
Apparently not to Braun Breaker.
I don't know.
I didn't mind because heels are delusional and that's the whole deal with them. So
Yeah.
it didn't bother me at all. And like you said, the promo was really well done. So, I and after that weird, MAGA style shit, American made,
American made, baby.
I was this is much better. Let's keep doing stuff like this.
Yeah. Again, like I thought Braun did well with it. I don't know. To me, it was just like, okay, that's just I guess from a couple weeks ago, I was ready for Braun to just move on and become a babyface and just kind of run that train up the ladder towards the world heavyweight title. Like I feel like that is his trajectory, and I just feel like we're going backwards. I was like, you gave me that 1 week tease, and I get it. It's a tease because we're gonna get the babyface run eventually, and then we'll all be like, hell yeah, all right, cool. Like you should have,
The clear reason why is there's a couple of things that are going on, which are the reason why this is happening again.
Oh yeah.
One, when Cody and Gunther is happening, so there's no new title feuds until after Crown Jewel. But so that's one. Two, when Crown Jewel is over, CM Punk is going after Gunther. We know that's happening.
Yeah.
So that can't be can't be Braun Breaker because now it's going to be Punk.
Yeah.
And Cody is going to be SmackDown dealing with that stuff.
He's got issues. We're going to be talking about that.
He's got
issues. And there's another thing going on with Jay that we're going to be talking about in a little bit, which is why I think that Jay's not going to have that belt for a long time. No. Jay's not going to have that belt for a long time. Sandy's getting to it. I'm going to save you a comment for when we start talking about it. So then we get, which this is something I really liked, was the sit down between Adam Pearce and Bronson Reed. This I liked.
This was excellent.
This was very good. Different atmosphere. It was like it looked like it was outside, but out back, maybe behind her. I don't know, but it was a very, they're just sitting down one-on-one. Pearce says that he gives the talent room to be wild, and he eats that criticism for it. That's what he wants here at Raw. Second week in a row, he's leaning into like, this is what I want. This chaos. This is what I want. Is it? I think you just gave up and you're like, you know what? I'm just going to start saying this is what I want because I can't control anything. But either way, he says, but Bronson, you went too far in the last Monster Standing match. He said you put the other wrestlers in danger. You put the fans in danger. You put everybody working in danger. Bronson apologized. He said, I'm sorry for going too far. He goes, but ultimately it's Seth Rollins' fault. And everything that I've done has just been to get to the main event. I want the spotlight. I want everyone to be remembering me, knowing my name. That's what I want. He goes, Seth wants the match. I want the match. Just make the match. And then Pierce says, I'm not making the match until I know that we are on the same page. And Bronson says, we're on the same page. He goes, and then Pierce goes, all right, as long as we're on the same page, I'll go talk to Seth. And Bronson says, don't make me wait too long. Don't make me wait too long. Then we have our first matchup, Drew, in the Tag Team Championship #1 Contenders Tournament. We see Alpha Academy make their way to the ring. And then a very cool moment, one of the things I actually loved on Raw, we saw the return of not the Viking Raiders, Drew, the War Raiders, old theme song and all. War Raiders
that
from
was their old
NXT.
theme song?
That was their theme song from NXT. Yes, it was.
Oh.
When they were the War Raiders. Very cool to see them. That is an instant jolt.
That'll probably change in the next couple of weeks.
I hope
That's
not.
what happens.
That's a good song. That's a good song. I hope not. But that is an instant jolt to the tag team division. That team is very good. Good to see Ivar back. Good to see Eric back. He was out for a long time with an injury. And this was a relatively quick match. Obviously, I like Tozawa and Otis. I would like to see them a little bit better, but they were there to basically get their ass kicked for a little bit and show off the War Raiders.
Ivar and Eric looked great.
They did. They did. Night. Very, very good to have them back. They are a great team. And that, like I said, is an instant jolt to the tag team roster on the main roster. So good to see them back. And then we go backstage again, Drew, and we have Adam Pearce chatting with Seth Rollins. Rollins says that, hey, injuries are part of the game. And he says, listen, he goes, people coming after me. He goes, there's always going to be somebody coming after me. He goes, you did it back in the day. I did it back in the day. And now there's young guys coming after me. And he goes, yeah, and injuries happen and it's part of the game. He goes, but I want to be in that spot. I want to be in the spot that people are trying to take because that means I'm at the top. And he goes, and that's why I am at the top. He goes, so make the match. And then that's kind of how that ends.
This was a really nice back and forth between the two of them.
I do. I thought Seth, I did too. I thought Seth was good here too.
Yeah, he that perfect explanation of why he needed it, not just wanted it, he needed it.
I love it
because he's got to stay on top, and this is like an extra little gives him.
This is what, this is what makes him perform the way that he does to stay on top, is knowing that at any moment somebody's gunning for his spot or somebody's trying to take him out. Like that keeps him on edge to get the best possible Seth Rollins every week, which I liked a lot. All right, we then have the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, makes his entrance. He welcomes everybody to Monday Night Raw. He says he considers himself a bit of a traditionalist, and he's proud to stand in a city that has such rich roots in the world of professional wrestling. And then he makes a callback and he says, but there's also some more recent history of why this building is so important to me. And this was the place where those "We Want Cody" chants started when The Rock. So this whole thing that we're in right now with the Bloodline and The Rock and all that stuff, and really started in St. Louis. Because those crowds were like, no, not happening. So, nice little callback. Yeah, Scott, that is crazy, isn't it? That he's only wrestled 6 times this year, Seth. Only 6 matches on the year. That's pretty nuts. So he's been banged up. He was, but he just came back. I think we're gonna get a Seth Rollins from now to Mania run where I think he's gonna be balling out. Kind of reminding people who he is. And then just about as Cody's about to ask, what does everybody want to talk about? Gunther's music hits. Gunther comes out, and I loved Gunther here, though. He says, this is usually where I'd come out and I'd say something, an uncomfortable truth about my opponent and try to drag him down a little bit. He goes, but to be honest with you, Cody, there's not much negative to say about you. He goes, this sport is in a boom period, and it's all built off your back. He goes, you make every town, you make every country, you make every continent. You are truly, he calls him the quarterback of this operation. The crowd kind of gives Cody his flowers a little bit. And then Gunther says, there's not many people in this company that I respect, but I do respect you, Cody. I go, but he goes, one thing, no. He goes, you do really love to be everybody's darling. And he goes, and because of that, you're in a whole heap of a mess with your friend Kevin over there on SmackDown, aren't you? And Cody starts to get a little uncomfortable, you can tell. He goes, and then Gunther says, who knows now that everyone's, because now Kevin knows that the guy that is everybody's friend is really no one's friend, which I like that line a lot. And he goes, I expect you to sort that out and sort your emotional mess because I expect the best of Cody Rhodes in Saudi Arabia. And then Cody goes, well, one champion to another. I've seen what happens when the ring general throws his arsenal at his opponents and they keep coming. He goes, you break. He goes, I saw it at WrestleMania. You break. That got a good reaction from the crowd.
Yeah, this was a very good promo.
Yeah. And then he looks at Gunther and he goes, and one thing's for certain, Gunther, you've never been in the ring with me. And then here Cody goes, and I've already beaten the most dominant champion in WWE history. And then he goes, and I've already slain a beast. He goes, so I'm not scared of you, Gunther. And Cody puts out his hand for a handshake. And Gunther shakes his hand and kind of off mic, Gunther says, good luck to me. And then he just leaves. And then they kind of zoom in on Cody. And Cody's like a little puzzled that he would say that. And then Cody mouths the words, gonna be a real tough one. Gonna be a tough one. And that's how this segment ends. I thought this was a very good back and forth. I like the respect that Gunther showed at first. I like the respect.
One thing I was actually surprised about is that they did not mention the two of them being the last two in the Rumble 2 years ago.
No.
I think there's first Rumble win.
There's going to be a proper match between these two guys down the line for like an actual title, you know? So
and Eric's comment there is actually not wrong either because
sure. 100%.
I'm sorry, I was just reading the one above that.
Yeah, that is not a smart comment. That's not a smart comment. Kind of hard for the world champion in a different company to come do that, but
yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Wouldn't fit the vibe. But good try. Good try.
Would be interesting though if the two sides weren't competing with each other.
Yeah. What? No, he didn't. I think you got your companies mixed up. Anyway.
So Sami Zayn also did beat, at the time, Gunther was the second most dominant champion in WWE.
Yeah. That is true. That was the reference. That was the reference. Cody did say he's beaten the most dominant champion, which is Roman Reigns.
And Seth also referenced him too.
Yeah, and earlier in the night. So that was two beasts, I know I saw some people running with that on socials, like, oh, is he coming back soon? Is he going to come back from Mania? They said beast twice. It's like, oh, well, we'll see. But, yeah. But I agree with you, Drew. I thought, yeah, I kind of like where we're going here because it's one of those things where, they're fighting for a belt, but it's not a real belt. And this is a big match.
The whole thing between them is total bullshit.
Yeah.
There's no reason for this at all.
Well, I mean, I am ready for this match though. But
it shouldn't be. This shouldn't be the way that we got this match.
I agree. And I think this is really just going to be a tease. Like they're going to have a good match, but it's really going to be a tease for when we get it proper somewhere down the line. Because I do think at some point, not now, but at some point in the coming years and stuff, Cody and Gunther is a long form feud forever. You know what I mean? Type of thing. So I think this is just a little tease for us to be like, ooh, but I thought it was very, very well done. We then come back from commercial, Drew, and we get a nice little Dragon Lee hype reel. It's kind of like a vignette they had At the end, he had dragon wings that came out of his back. And it looked like he flew away like a dragon, but it seems like Dragon Lee might be getting a little bit of a push here, and he's very good. He's very good. So I don't think that's a bad thing. But we got a nice little vignette from him. And then that led into Braun Breaker versus Kofi Kingston. Obviously, we had the stuff that happened last week, Drew, where Braun attacked Jimmy after his match with Xavier Woods. Kofi went in to make the save. Oh, sorry. Jay, Kofi went in to make the save. He took a spear, and then Xavier Woods, for just being involved in the scenario, got a spear, a super spear as well. So this was a one-on-one match. Decent match here.
Not to be confused with literally a regular spear that he does all the time.
Honestly. This was a decent match between the two. But Braun Breaker does get the pinfall with a spear. And then the post-match, Braun... Yeah, it was a super spear. That is true. And then post-match, Braun... You have to differentiate. You have to differentiate. If you do not differentiate, people will not understand. God forbid they go back and watch the stuff. But they will not. They will not. And they will hound you forever for being wrong. I wish I could just sit next to somebody's cubicle or just sit next to somebody at work, and the second they mess up, just attack them for like an hour straight for messing up. And just be like, how's that feel? Oh, it feels good? Okay. Yeah, people mess up every day, dickhead. Anyway, sorry. So Braun presses the attack. He starts continuing to go after Kofi. Jey Uso makes the save, and he lays out Braun Breaker with the spear. And that's kind of how this segment ends. Yeah. That Donnybrook match ruled, Melissa, from last week.
Oh yeah. That was
well, he actually they had the night off because it was a taped episode of Raw. This was taped last week, so everybody who wrestled on the Raw, everybody who
wrestling on the live show.
Exactly. Most people that we saw wrestle on last week's Raw did not wrestle on this week's Raw because it was a tape show and they didn't wrestle twice. We then have a backstage segment with the Terra Twins, Drew. Damian Priest shows up. He says, "You all right for tonight?" Rhea says, "Yeah, it's Tiffy." He goes, "It's Tiffany Stratton's time to sit on the apron and look pretty because I'm going to take care of business." Damian then gives her a pep talk. And then Rhea says, "Are you going to do what we talked about?" And Damian says, "Yeah." He goes, "When it comes to Judgment Day stuff, you just say the word and I got your back. I know unless you're done with them, I'm not done with them." He goes, "But I do think it's time that I start focusing on becoming El Campeon once again." So it looks like maybe Damian Priest is thinking about going towards the world title picture. Wouldn't be shocked if the Judgment Day prevents him from getting so, and this continues this. Yeah, right. But at least they're starting to talk about Damian Priest heading back towards the title picture, which is a good thing because he was a great champion. And then we have R-Truth versus The Miz. Drew, I want your full opinion on this R-Truth and Miz thing because I love shit like this. This shit makes me laugh, especially and this is a different scenario than the Giovanni Vinci one that we saw a few months ago or a month ago. But to me, this type of stuff, I'm never not when it gets overdone. But like here with this story, the Miz and his history, I thought it was hilarious.
This was hilarious.
Yeah. Okay.
I
wanted your opinion.
Gripe I have about it is I really don't care about Karrion Kross at all. And
it's fair, yeah, because there was some post-match stuff, obviously. 100%, Melissa.
Yeah.
100%.
It's just not interesting to me. The Karrion Kross aspect of this is not interesting to me at all.
But Karrion Kross is here's the thing. I agree with you. I do think my interest in this is not super duper high. But at the end of the day, Karrion Kross is the reason the New Day's going through this shit. He's the reason that Miz and R-Truth broke. Like Karrion Kross is this not little, he's a big dude, but you know what I mean? He's this guy who's literally dismantling these brotherships, friendship. Like he's that guy. And we did see during this match, even though as quick a match as it was, the Wyatt 6 thing flashed on the screen again. Right. So Karrion Kross, The Miz breaking up with this. The Wyatts, it seems like somewhere in here are the Wyatts' next opponents. Whether it is the Karrion Kross group, which would make sense, or it is The Miz for turning on R-Truth, or it's them combined. Because Karrion Kross, at the end of this, he throws R-Truth back in the ring, and Miz hits a skull-crushing finale, and the segment kind of ends with him and Karrion Kross kind of staring at each other. I don't know if this means that Miz is going to align himself with Karrion Kross, but it definitely seems like there's some sort of thing happening.
See, when they were doing it with Xavier, I was not a fan and did not want him aligning with Karrion Kross at all. I actually wouldn't hate Miz aligning.
I wouldn't either.
Kross,
I wouldn't either. I would not either.
because it will keep him a little more serious. When he's a heel, he usually tends to be kind of annoying, and not in a like entertainingly annoying way, kind of in a let me mute you or change the channel type of a way. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't hate seeing a serious heel Miz aligned with Karrion Kross.
Yeah,
It might actually make me like the Cross group more.
100%. That'd be a lot of fun. We then have, here we go, man. Here we go. I feel like, should we talk about the either way, it's fine. We have Jey Uso walking in the back, IC title around his shoulder, and he walks into what we assume is his dressing room.
You know what? Let's
should we talk about the SmackDown stuff first?
We should do that first.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Just for this. Actually, all right, how about this? Let's talk about the main event of Raw. And then we'll talk about this, and that will lead us into our SmackDown discussion.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So the main event of Raw, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez going up against Rhea Ripley and Tiffany Stratton. Solid tag match, nothing spectacular, what you would expect. It was pretty good back and forth. Raquel using her power, throwing people around, power bomb and Liv. The one cool spot where Rhea and Tiffany were kind of having a miscommunication on the outside, and Raquel power bomb Liv from inside the ring onto them.
That was
very cool spot. That was a very cool spot. Really good. We come back from commercial. Yeah, Big Mommy cool. Big Mommy cool. Raquel Rodriguez, you know it. We come back from commercial. Liv and Raquel are in control. They're working Stratton over. Then action spills out to the floor, and we see the SmackDown Women's Champion. I believe they call her just the WWE Women's Heavyweight Champion. Nia Jax shows up, and then we get, I don't know if they ever even called it a DQ. They just like the match just stopped, kind of. The bell rang. Nia Jax gets involved. She's fighting.
Yeah, I don't like when they do that, because then it's like, what was the end of the match?
Yeah.
Who won?
Like, did they ever announce? They didn't announce anything. It just kind of ended. Like, it was just like, all right, this is a no contest kind of thing. But at one point, Rhea gets Nia up for a riptide, and it's like, oh damn. But Liv chop blocks Rhea out at the legs. They're all beating her up, and then Nia Jax lays Liv Morgan out. She calls for Tiffany to get the briefcase, and she hits her with an annihilator. And then she's laying there. She looks at Tiffany. Tiffany's looking at her, and she goes, and Nia just goes, I think she's like,
which is also SmackDown.
Yes.
On SmackDown, they had the segment where she said she was going to beat Liv Morgan. We talked about this actually last week.
We did.
We're like, oh, what if Tiffany actually cashes in on Liv Morgan?
Yeah. So
or just
Nia
cashes in general.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
so
hilarious. Nia's literally like, hey, like, come on. Her facial expression's like, come on. So Tiffany goes to grab the briefcase. It looks like she's going to cash in. As she's about to give it to the ref, we see Dominic Mysterio run down. He grabs Liv out of the ring, and they walk off. And that's how Monday Night Raw ends.
Tiffany tried to cash in on SmackDown, and then Dominic showed up to grab Liv out of the ring as well.
Yes.
So everything was playing up, you know.
Yeah. And Eric, listen, last week when we came on here, me and Drew both agreed that the thing that bothered us the most about last week's first 2-hour episode of Raw was that the women were just thrown into a 10-woman tag for 5 minutes on the show. And we were like, this better not become
much bigger
an issue.
this week.
But last night we saw the matches were bookended with women. The women opened the show with the vignette, with the in-ring promo segment. Then we went right into the women's tag team title matches, which was a good match. We had multiple other Rhea Ripley segments throughout the night, and the main event was a women's tag match. So the women were littered throughout this show, which is good to see. I hope the balance continues moving forward, because from that first week with just that 6-minute 10-woman tag with a commercial in the middle of it, I was not feeling good about maybe some of the things that would be getting cut going down to 2 hours. But last night I thought, at least from the women's side of things, was a big improvement, because the women were the focal point of the show, really. I agree. Triple H, and he's been very open about it. He says, I pay attention to what people are saying on Twitter and on social media, because my job is to make the best wrestling show, not only in general, but for the fans. And if they're not liking something, I'm going to adapt. And I think that's a smart thing to do.
I don't know why every time somebody says Triple Paul, it makes me laugh.
Triple Paul, man.
I don't know.
Triple Paul. PPP. All right. So now let's talk about SmackDown, and then we'll kind of lump in the stuff on Raw, because the stuff we left out, SmackDown started last Friday with the official return of Big Jim Uso. That's what they call him, Big Jim. Big Jim Uso. Jimmy Uso. He comes back. He welcomes everybody to SmackDown. He says he's been on the shelf for 6 months. He was put there by his little brother, Solo Sikoa. He goes, but he didn't have the balls to attack me in my face. He got jumped from behind by the bloodline. So tonight, it's all about him doing what he's done his entire life, and that's kicking Solo's ass. And then we see the OTC, Roman Reigns, comes to the ring. And Roman changes it up a little bit. He says, we're going to change it up a little. He goes, usually I'm the guy, I run stuff. He goes, but tonight I need everybody here to acknowledge him. And he points at Jimmy. The crowd then gives Jimmy a good ovation. He acknowledges him. And then he says, I understand where you're coming from, but I don't understand your revenge. He goes, I'm also not a wise man. He goes, I don't come up with creative, manipulative plans. He goes, that's not me. He goes, I'm the tribal chief, and that means I take what's mine. I go, and he goes, and for 4 years now, that's exactly what we've done. I've called the shots. I've delivered. We've had the money. We've had the power. We've had the respect. He talks about like buying cars and stuff. At that point, I was like, that's not a baby face thing, Roman. Most people are poor and struggling to live. Don't talk about multiple cars, Roman. Anyway. So they said, we've had the championships, money coming out the pockets, buying houses, doing this, doing that, whatever. He goes, but we're not there right now. We're not there right now. Yeah. He goes, I don't like our position. We're being out of control. We're out of control here. I don't like it. He says, I'm the greatest of all time. I meant that. And he goes, and I need y'all to know, when I put up the ones, we are the ones. But this is where Jimmy then. See, this is the evolution. Not afraid to say what we feel now around Roman Reigns. This is the evolution. So Jimmy Uso goes, hey, man. I go, I see a chief here with no tribe. You got nothing around your neck, man. He goes, that bad blood, I came back because you needed me. Not because you asked me, but because you needed me. And he goes, but Us, we need help. And he goes, and I know one person that we can get some help from. And Roman just very simply just goes, no yeet. The crowd's starting to chant yeet, and he just, no yeet, no yeet.
Yeah. Very babyface as well.
Yes. And then Jimmy says, listen, he goes, you'll always forever be my tribal chief. I go, but I'm the only one in the family that still acknowledges you. The only one. And Jimmy leaves, and he leaves Roman in the ring by himself. Now, fast forward to Raw. All right, before we do that, what'd you think of the opening segment with Jimmy Uso and Roman here from SmackDown?
I love this new, because we haven't seen this like this.
Yeah.
For years. No, cowering fervent Jimmy Uso to the tribal chief Roman Reigns. Jimmy even did the hand out so that this way Roman could give him the mic, but then he gave him a high five.
He gave him a high five, which was funny. I like that too. That was fun.
That was nice.
Yeah.
I don't like that Roman does that though. Still, I think that's the
heel. Well, Heyman's got to be coming back imminently, right?
Yeah, but it could be. I don't mind him doing it with Heyman, but he did it with Nick Aldis a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
He's doing it with Jimmy. Like, no. And honestly, I'd be looking at him like, get your own damn microphone.
Yeah.
I'm not handing it to you. You ain't no tribal chief right now. You're not the leader. You're not the boss of me.
Yeah. It's true.
It's continuing like what you were saying. Like, that's not the babyface thing.
Yeah.
This is not a babyface thing.
And I feel like this Roman character, he does lean into the babyface things, but you still see some of that old tribal chief come through.
Yeah, I mean,
so I don't know if that's by design or not. You know what I mean? Because he did have this mindset and this way of life for 4 years, and it ended realistically. It only ended 5-6 months ago. It's not like it ended a lot, so I feel like
I feel like because he was off TV for months.
Yeah.
It should have been his reflection time.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. So I treated Jimmy and Jay and Sammy like shit. And I treated my wise man like shit. And I did really bad things. And now I come back, with my head down, going, all right, I fucked up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He has not acknowledged that yet at all.
No.
He not acknowledged fucking up. He has not acknowledged being a piece of shit.
Correct.
And then he did the no yeet thing.
He did.
But
he did do the no yeet thing.
Where I have not, the whole thing with Cody in the football stadium, that whole promo, you're my way in life, and all that shit. It's like, that's not babyface.
No.
You're like, you're showing that all that time away, you didn't learn from your mistakes. You didn't atone and be like, oh, well, you know what? I've reflected. I've seen now that my way was wrong. He just went right back to the tribal chief douchebag. So while I enjoyed that character for the better part of 4 years, that's not who he should be right now.
No. But that's why in my brain, I'm like, they're doing this on purpose, right? Like it
must be on purpose.
It has to be by design, because he is showing babyface tendencies, but he's also showing old characteristics that are still with him.
It should be him, Roman Reigns, going to Raw.
Well, I think that's what it's going to take.
I hope that's what it leads to.
Because on Raw last night, we see Jay walking down in the back after his IC title match. We see him approach his locker room. And when he opens the door, Jimmy Uso, Big Jim, is sitting there on the couch. He stands up and he says, "You got a minute?" And Jay just kind of shuts the door in his face, frustrated, walks away. Then we see a little bit later, Jimmy walking down the aisles, looking for Jay, opening a few doors, finally opens a door. Jay walks out of the door in his gear, getting ready to leave. And he says, "No, man, I said no." And he goes, "Now get up my face." And he just walks off. So he doesn't really give Jimmy anything. And Jay should feel that way. Jay should feel that way.
Yeah,
he was don't get me wrong, he was a bad guy with the bloodline for a lot of it. But towards the end there, him and Roman and Jimmy fucked Jay over. And they kicked him out and they shunned him.
Especially, because Jimmy cost him that title at SummerSlam.
Yes, over and over, Jimmy screwed him. Jay should feel that way. And I do agree with you, Drew. I do think it is eventually going to be Roman that is going to have to recruit Jay and recruit Sammy, not Jimmy or not Heyman. If it gets to that point, it's going to have to physically be Roman apologizing to Jimmy and saying, hey, man, you're my family. I'm sorry. We need you. I need you. And I think that's what it's going to take eventually for at least Jay to say, okay, I'm in. And then maybe it's a group effort to get Sammy. Jay and Sammy are pretty tight still. So, like, I don't know, but it's going to take Roman to be that guy that apologizes to Jay and says, okay, we need you, man. We need you. And it'll be a great moment when it happens. It'll be a great moment when it happens. But it has to be Roman. It has to be Roman. So a good piece of business. Good. Sandy, that's probably not a bad idea. That's probably not a bad, or maybe someone of the, maybe Jacob, some Solo would make the most sense, but someone of the new bloodline, they get involved. That's how Braun Breaker gets the IC title back, probably. And then Jay now has a reason to go help his family. All right, back to SmackDown now as we continue.
Well, you know what? You know what? That should happen after. So before Crown Jewel, or maybe at Crown Jewel, Roman has to approach Jay. And then Jay is on the fence about it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm done with all of you. I don't need that in my life anymore. I'm a close guy. I've got the IC title, whatever. Then somebody in the new bloodline costs Jay. And that's what Jay goes, you know what? Fine. Let's do it.
Yeah.
But it should be first, Roman comes to him. Has to apologize. He has to apologize. That is mandatory. He has to apologize.
Yeah.
Then he's like I'll think about it. You know, he's like, you know, kind of like pushing him off. You know, this is I'm main event Jey Uso. I'm the Yeet Man. I'm doing my own thing now. I don't need to be involved in your stuff. And Solo or somebody cost Jay the IC title. And now it's like, okay, it's on now.
Yeah, 100%. It's not that I don't want to hear it. You are entitled to your opinion. Just you need to know that you're in the minority there. That's all. That's my only thing, is you are in the minority. All right. We have a United States Championship match that is next on SmackDown. It is Carmelo Hayes against LA Knight. Andrade.
And I just need to know why Melissa thinks that Dean Ambrose is coming to help Roman.
Because she's being a troll.
Is it a troll thing?
I would hope,
because they're not acting like a troll.
He is literally the world champion of a different company. So either she's trolling or she's just very uninformed.
I mean, she's been commenting.
Oh yeah, no, she's been great, but that's like the third time she's mentioned it. He literally works somewhere else.
I just need to know. I just want to know why you're saying. He
literally works somewhere else. That's why I haven't. We are talking about the bloodline. That's why I haven't acknowledged those comments, because he literally doesn't work it. But Andrade makes his presence felt almost immediately in this match. This was a good match. I know he is. Melissa, I've been watching wrestling for 35 years. The guy who plays Dean Ambrose, I don't know if you know this, his name is Jon Moxley, and he's literally the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. So that dream of yours is not coming true.
Yeah.
So I would be
safe. Yeah. You know, according to the graphic from yesterday, nobody is safe.
Nobody is safe. So nobody in AEW. That is an impossibility for that to happen, Melissa. Just trying to help you guide your way along these parts. Good match between Carmelo Hayes and LA Knight. LA Knight retains with the BFT, but we did see Andrade make his presence, and later on in the evening, Carmelo Hayes goes up to Nick Aldis, not thrilled, saying, "What the hell, man? I was supposed to get this title shot. Andrade put his, stuck in his nose in my business again." And Aldis says, "Well, last time," he goes, I checked my math. We're at 3-3 here. So I think it's time to have a match 7, game 7 I like how he called it Game 7. I like
Yeah.
that. As the sports fan I am, I like how he called it Game 7. He said, Game 7. So we are going to be getting a 7th matchup between Andrade and Carmelo, which I have no problem with because every match has been better.
It really has.
So this 7th match should rule. Yeah, I thought that was a good little piece of business. We then had a backstage segment with Cody. He runs into Jey Uso. I do feel you. It's really my downfall as a human, but I do. We run with Cody Rhodes runs into Big Jim Uso backstage. He thanks him for Saturday and for showing up and helping them at Bad Blood. Jim tells him to consider it a favor and said it was family business, and I give you respect for handling your own business. And then, we come back from commercial. We have Metaphor making their entrance for their tag team title match, but they are interrupted.
I got really concerned about this at first. And then it's like, oh, okay. They continued the match after.
Yeah. They are interrupted immediately by Kevin Owens with a microphone in hands. He says that he's sorry for interrupting. He says he was told not to come here tonight, but everybody wants to know why I did what I did to Cody and why I turned on Cody when in reality, Cody turned on me. And just as he's about to continue talking, his mic gets cut. So he goes and he grabs a headset from commentary. Cody shows up, security and the road agents come down because Cody's taking off his jacket, walking. It's like, oh, we're going to fight. Here we go. Security gets out there. They're getting separated. Randy Orton comes down to try to cool everybody. Let's relax. Let's relax, guys. He gets in the ring. He's holding Kevin back. And Kevin throws an elbow, not knowing that Randy's back there. He hits Randy with an elbow. Randy snaps, turns KO around, punches Kevin Owens right in the face. Owens falls to the ground. He looks shocked. He's looking at Randy. Randy looks frustrated. Cody's walking off. Loved it.
Yeah.
I love all this chaos with these three dudes. I love it all, Drew.
This was beautiful chaos. It was excellent.
Loved it.
So like I said, yeah, they interrupted Metaphor, the women of Metaphor. I was like, oh no, that means we're not going to have the match now. Well, that wasn't the case, thankfully. But yeah, this was it was very a deviation from the norm, which again is something that I have professed many times. Is something that I like seeing, and it wasn't the only time during the night that it deviated from the norm. Specifically with Kevin Owens, and they cut the mic immediately. I loved that. Yeah. Nick Aldis has got his shit together.
Yeah,
he has got his shit together.
I love the difference between, like, I like how they clearly, the two leaders of these shows are completely, like, Pierce is running around with his head cut off, just chaos everywhere. SmackDown does have chaos, but Aldis is very reserved, very controlled. He has it like, he doesn't let people take advantage of him. He doesn't get fiery. He's very calculated, and then Pierce is just like, fuck, come on. Yeah. I like how there's a difference. And even like on the Raw stuff, you had Tiffany Stratton when we were talking about Raw. She goes, she had a comment before he made the tag match with Rhea where she was like, Nick Aldis would never treat me this way.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And it's kind of like that ongoing battle there, like between those two. And one thing that we forgot to mention, there was a line in the Bronson Reed, Adam Pearce thing where Bronson Reed says something to Pierce. He goes, you're a smarter businessman than I thought you were. And Adam Pearce goes, who'd have thought? Like, he almost like sarcastically was like, wow, who would have thought? Like, people underestimate him, kind of like in his brain. He's like, yeah, these people around here don't appreciate or underestimate me. Like, they don't think that I'm doing like that. I'm as smart, just the way he said that. Like, yeah, who'd have thought, huh?
Yeah,
I thought that was a good line by Pierce.
Well, the chaos thing is bullshit.
It's Sandy, I agree. I love Noam Dar. I think Metaphor.
Oh, I didn't know he was injured.
Yeah, I think Metaphor, that group that they have in NXT, that is a group to me that could work on the main roster. 100%. All right. We then have our WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. These two defended these belts on both Raw and SmackDown this week, Bianca and Jade. This match was against
It really
Metaphor.
is a new era.
It really is. This match was against Metaphor, Jakara Jackson, and Lash Legend from NXT. We also saw Trick Williams, the new NXT heavyweight champion, in the crowd before this match, which was very cool. Whoop, that trick is right. They are killing it on those first 2 weeks on CW. The ratings are, I'm not a big ratings guy, but they are very, very good, and they are killing it. They are killing it down there. Chelsea Green and Piper Niven were also at ringside for this one, keeping tabs on those tag titles. Metaphor got the advantage to start. They were doing quick tags, working Bianca over. Lash Legend hit a spine buster for 2, which was a good little spot there. But all in all, this was a very quick match, Drew. This match did not last a long amount of time.
Lash Legend and Trick are together?
They have had romantic stuff on. I don't know if they are in real life. But on screen in NXT, they've kind of kissed a few times, and they've kind of, if they might be doing, they might be a couple in real life. I honestly don't know. I don't really pay attention to a lot of that stuff. There was a whoop that chick, there was a whoop that trick chant. Absolutely. That guy is over. That guy is over. They're a shoot couple.
Good for you, Les.
All right. They're a shoot couple. So that's good. I know on screen, they've had a couple scenes where they've been kissy. But apparently in real life, they are together. So that's even cooler. Great.
Lucky Lash Legend.
I mean, one could argue they are both lucky. One could argue they are both lucky. But this was a relatively quick match. I was happy to see the NXT girls get the spot on SmackDown, but they looked good right at the beginning. But other than that, this was a relatively easy victory for Bianca and Jade. They do the wheelbarrow DDT and German suplex combination on Jakara Jackson for the 1, 2, 3. Bianca and Jade retain. So a weekend full of solid tag team defenses for Bianca and Jade as they continue to establish themselves as the dominant team in the women's tag team division. Anything else to add about that match at all, or no? Yeah. We come back from commercial and we have Randy and Cody are in the back. Randy Orton tells Cody, they're kind of in the back, like near his bus with Aldis. Randy tells Cody, hey, man, it's fine. I'll handle Kev. I'll talk to Kev. Get on your bus. Calm down. I got this. It's nothing I haven't dealt with before. I got this. And then Nick Aldis says, hey, you need to remain calm and preserve yourself a crown jewel because I need this. We need this. SmackDown needs this. We need you to win that match. And then Cody finally was like, all right, I'll get on the bus. And Cody goes, Randy goes, I'll fix it. I'll deal with it. I'll fix it. And then Aldis kind of has a line where he goes, Randy Orton, voice of, Sandy just said it. He goes, Randy Orton, voice of reason. And he kind of laughs and pats Randy on the back on the way out of the segment. So little good segment backstage. I do think it is funny how Randy Orton, everything we've seen and known of Randy Orton's career, that he's like the noble veteran. The voice of reason, exactly. Like the voice of reason, the keeper of the peace, Randy Orton, one of the most savage individuals in the history of pro wrestling.
He's the voices of reason.
Yeah, exactly. We then get an in-ring segment with Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton.
This shit was my favorite stuff on the show.
This was fun.
Honestly.
Nia gets on the mic. She gives credit to Bayley for a hell of a fight at Bad Blood. She says you even made me break a sweat. She goes, but like every contender I found, you ended up on your back. Nobody on this planet can beat me. And then Nia says she's going to annihilate Liv Morgan just like she did Bayley. And then Tiffany is going to cash in on Liv Morgan.
Yes.
And that's what we're going to do. Lawrence, I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong. He has been the voice of reason for a long time. So we'll have to see what his reasoning is if they ever let him speak this go go around. And I agree, Sandy. I think they are killing it with this Tiffany and Nia storyline. We then have Naomi comes out. She says the only reason Nia Jax retained is her broken down Barbie doll that helped her, which I liked. Nia says, "Are you here to challenge me one-on-one to get beaten or to get beaten in a tag match? What do you want?" Naomi says she doesn't need anyone's help and that she'll beat Nia right here, right now. Oh, we got another German. We already.
Wow. Hello.
Beard 87 coming in.
And we're
Hello,
on Twitch again.
Yeah, on the Twitch. Oh, I have for some reason, I do that every week now. I feel like I just goof and I put us on all three. Either way. But welcome in. You are, we have Sandy in the chat who's also from Germany. So I don't know if you guys know each other or it's a big country. Maybe not, but that is a coincidence right there. But welcome on in, my friend. We are talking SmackDown right now. Yeah, she says, "I'll beat you right here, right now." Nia says, "Get a referee out here and we'll find that out." Referee comes out, but then we see Raquel, Liv Morgan, and Dominic Mysterio.
I agree, Scott. We should KO
that'd be nice.
should be a tag team. Absolutely.
Exactly. Exactly. That's why I said. Liv says that she's actually a little upset because they came here to make an example of Nia, but she already has her hands full. So we're just going to hang out and watch you lose this match, just like you're going to lose to me at Crown Jewel. And then we have ourselves a one-on-one match with Nia Jax and Naomi. This match was very good.
Yeah.
I like this match a lot. Very, very good. Naomi looked great in this match. Both women did, but Naomi looked really, really good in this match.
I have to say, this was probably my favorite match of hers since returning.
Yeah, it was really, really good. I at one point, the Judgment Day at ringside, kind of getting involved, talking a little bit of trash. We come back from commercial. Nia misses the senton. Naomi's feeling it. She's getting the crowd behind her. And it looks like Tiffany Stratton is about to blast Naomi with the briefcase, but Raquel Rodriguez gets involved. She takes it away from her. Naomi then lays out Tiffany with the kick. They go back inside.
This was a beautiful car crash at the end of this. There's so much stuff going on.
Yep. Nia takes back control, but Raquel interferes. Liv hits some cheap shots with the briefcase. Naomi gets her out of the corner. She hits a power bomb from the top, from the second rope on Nia, gets the advantage, and Naomi gets a pinfall victory over the Women's World Champion.
She didn't even have her feet. She didn't even have her feet up on the mat. She was just like hanging on top of Nia,
getting all her weight to hold Nia down for the 3 count. She gets the 3 count.
And then it's not over after that either.
No, it's not over, but I'm thinking after Crown Jewel, we're heading straight for a Naomi Nia thing, and I'm all in it for the belt. I'm all in it.
Yeah.
But after this match, Rhea Ripley shows up. She lays Raquel out. She's chasing after Liv, but Rhea runs into Nia. They start going back and forth. Rhea's booting.
What a pop for Rhea when she came out.
Oh my God. Rhea boots Nia down. She takes Morgan down. She's punching her. And then Dom, she turns to go hit Dom off the apron, but the Judgment Day flee and get away. Man, what a segment that was, huh?
Yeah.
What a segment
that was. My favorite. That was my favorite thing on the whole show. That whole the promos into the match, into the car crash at the end with all these people coming out, Liv hitting Nia with the briefcase, Naomi getting the win, Rhea coming out. It was a beautiful mesh of greatness.
It was real good. It was real good. Then we have a backstage segment, the Carmelo stuff.
Beard, by the way, you're not the only one.
You're not the only one. I disagree. I actually think that he's gotten dramatically better from where we've seen him debut 3 or 4 years ago. He gets that heat because he has that heat, but I would not be shocked if sometime in the next year or so, there is a massive babyface Dominic Mysterio run that the crowd will get behind, and I could easily see him as an IC champion. I could easily see him as an IC champion, a United States champion, with the crowd behind him as an underdog babyface. 100%. Because I think what's going to happen. Oh, go ahead. You go first.
I'm not like, wow, Dominic Mysterio.
No,
I've never been like that.
I just think
he has 100% improved. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. And I think like the boos he gets now. So for the majority of it, the boos he was getting was like, get off my screen boos. Like, not like, we don't want to hear you talk because you're terrible boos. But I feel like, what's up, boss man? What's going on, Spence? But now I feel like the boos that Dominic Mysterio gets are the respectful boos. He gets the, we hate you, but we kind of know you've gotten better. Like, you know,
also kind of piping it in a little bit in the beginning.
Oh, a little bit. But yeah, because I think what's going to happen in the long run is we're going to find out that Liv and Finn are running the show, and Dominic's a pawn. Dominic Mysterio's a pawn in this whole thing. And I think that that's what we're going to find out as we, not now, down the line. We're going to find out that Dominic was really a pawn between Liv and Finn to kind of get what they wanted from Priest and Rhea. Wow. And then that's going to lead to Dom.
Finn is awfully okay with Liv being all smoochy.
Well, it's part of the gig. I'm not saying it's a romantic thing. I'm just saying that he's a pawn in their business arrangement.
Oh, okay.
Per se. Yeah. And then I think that could lead to a big time babyface run for Dom. I think it's there. And if they do it right, I think
babyface, Rhea and Dom.
Well, I don't know. It would take a lot.
I don't know.
I would assume it would take a lot for Priest and Rhea to welcome Dom back with open arms. But yes, and that right there, Sandy. If you don't remember, Finn was the one who took. You know,
that triple Paul long-term storytelling will be very, very interesting when we get to that. Actually.
Yep. I don't know if he'll ever be a bigger face than his dad. I don't know about that, but he's.
Oh no.
There. No. Listen, Dominic Mysterio will be a major babyface for WWE in the next few years, and it's gonna happen. And I think the crowd, those boos turning from the liquid "we hate you" heat to the respectful liquid heat. That tells me that crowd will be ready to cheer for him when they do that. That is how I view that. All right. So we have the thing with Carmelo where Aldis tells him we're having a game 7. But in that same thing, as Carmelo leaves, we hear Legado del Fantasma roll up Santos Escobar. He says, I see a pattern with Andrade and Carmelo having a permanent spot in the title line. Aldis reminds Escobar that he came up short when he got his title shot not too long ago, and that Aldis has been just waiting for him to bounce back, he says. Santos says he's not just talking about himself, but he's talking about Elektra Lopez and Garza back here as well. Nick Aldis says that Garza is going to have a match next week, or Los Garza. Is that what they're calling the tag team? What are they calling the tag? Los Garza. We'll have a tag match next week against a team that he's hand selected for them, Drew.
I wonder who that team is.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. And if they can get through them, they'll be worthy of a title shot. And then Escobar says he won't regret it. And then Nick Aldis says, I actually might. And then we have Solo Sikoa cutting a promo. He has the Uafala. He says that Jimmy might be his bigger brother, but he's the real tribal chief. And tonight, Jimmy will acknowledge him. And then we have the vignette. It's another one of these vignettes with the motorcycles and the guitars and all this. However, there were 2 things that stuck out in this one. One of them was this said next week. So this week, we're getting this debut. And if you looked quick enough, Drew, there was spray paint in this one. And it spray painted MCMG, which, if you spell that out, Motor City Machine. I mean, Sandy, it makes me think that they're going to be the Motor City Machine. Why would you put MCMG there? They're probably going to change their name. Let's be real. But like, they put MCMG there so you knew who it would be. So I wouldn't be shocked if they refer to them as the Motor City Machine Guns next week when we see them debut. and then maybe they call themselves something else or, whatever, but they're coming in as the Motor City Machine Guns. Because they clearly, them having those initials on they're not shying away from who they used to be at the very least. I'm very excited for this trip. This is crazy.
I don't know if I've ever seen a Motor City Machine Guns match ever. But I know that Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley are good guys. And
both former TNA World Heavyweight Champions.
Talked about very highly.
Yep.
So I'm interested to see them.
Yeah, definitely along the same levels as the top tag teams in the mid 2000s to 2010s with the Bucks and, a lot of those top tag teams you would hear, they are right in that echelon. And I'm excited they're going right to the main roster.
I didn't know one of them was in NXT. Which one?
It was probably Shelley. Shelley showed up for a one-off match in NXT when it was the black and gold. Remember when James Storm showed up for one match or a couple matches?
Oh yeah, that's right.
I think it was somewhere around there, but Alex Shelley, I believe,
that was like 2018.
Yeah, something around it. I think Alex Shelley did have a match down there at some point. But I'm very much looking forward to this. I can only assume that the Motor City Machine Guns will be that team going against Los Garza that Aldis talked about. But very excited to see them go right to the main roster. That's very exciting. We then see DIY and the Street Profits yelling at each other.
This backstage. Was another one of their deviations from the norm thing.
Oh, that's right. That was right. He showed up and he tag teamed with Kushida because they were the time splitters. They were the time splitters. Yes, I do. That was what it was. Nick Aldis tells him sorry, but that was their shot. And he's got a new team coming in next week. He references it again. He goes, and then this sets off. They're starting to argue some more. And then you can see
the arguing went a little too long. Nick Aldis is just standing there for it felt 30 full seconds.
Yeah, but you can see Nick Aldis standing there, but he's kind of also he's getting a sense, or he can see something in the distance, or he's getting a sense something's happening back here. So you see Nick Aldis kind of walk away, and then we see that Nick Aldis saw Kevin Owens beating the hell out of Randy Orton, just like he did Cody after Bad Blood.
Yeah.
Calls for security to separate them. So for another week, KO takes out Cody at Bad Blood, and he takes out Randy Orton on SmackDown. And then we are at our main event, Drew. It is Big Jim Uso going one-on-one with Solo Sikoa. I thought this match was fine. I thought this match was a good little return match for Jimmy. At one point, it looked like Jimmy was going to beat his younger brother, but Jacob Fatu and the Bloodline get involved.
Classic Bloodline shenanigans.
100%. Solo Sikoa wins by the Samoan Spike and a pinfall victory over Jimmy Uso. Post-match, the Gorillas of Destiny get in the ring. They're beating down Jimmy. Roman Reigns makes the save. He clears the ring. Him and Solo are starting to go one-on-one, but Jacob Fatu cuts him off. He hits him with a hip attack. Jimmy then gets back in the ring. Fatu hits a super kick. He hits his diving moonsault. Tama and Tonga Loa get in it. They're going after Roman. We have a Samoan Spike to Roman. And then Jim and Roman recover. Super Samoan Spike. Uso. So the Bloodline gets out of the ring. They're on the entranceway celebrating. We have Roman and Jimmy in the ring recovering from the beatdown. And SmackDown ends with a good camera angle of Jimmy looking right at Roman and saying, "We need help. We need help." And that is how the show ends, with the new Bloodline putting up the ones in the entranceway, and SmackDown goes off the air.
Liked this match a lot.
I thought it was good.
And
I thought it was Solo's best match in a bit.
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
Because I think when he's working with his family, he can do singles matches, no problem.
Yep.
Because the Cody one at SummerSlam sucked. And most of his singles matches that have not had anything to do with bloodline, like facing a bloodline member,
Mhm.
good.
Fair.
But the tag match was good, and this match was good.
Mhm.
This match was really good.
I thought SmackDown, like Sandy, I thought SmackDown was great. I thought SmackDown last week was a really, really great episode of SmackDown. Storylines continued, good wrestling. I thought it was really, really good. Again, even though I felt I was a little more down on Raw last night than you were, I still thought there were things on Raw I liked. And look at, I also need to point this out here. A Raw that I think is below average or bad in today's world is still infinitely better than
Absolutely.
85% of the Raws that we had to watch for the last decade. You know what I mean? So, like, I can come on here and be like, oh, I thought that Raw kind of stunk last night. It was still better than any Raw we were watching in 2016. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's one of those things where, like, there is a perspective that comes with it. And I'm more so lining these Raws up with the other Raws from this year, you know? And that's kind of where I'm at. Like, if I'm not putting that Raw up against a Raw from 5 years ago, I'm putting that Raw up against a Raw from a couple months ago, where I think Raw was becoming the best show on television, or best wrestling show on TV again. That's how hot Raw was. And I just felt like there were good things that happened, but it was kind of the last couple weeks have been kind of like, good stuff, but not spectacular. But I thought SmackDown was really, really good. And we are continuing to push towards Crown Jewel, which is 2 weeks from Saturday.
Oh,
Yeah.
So Friday's SmackDown in the Barclays Center, which is only 20 minutes away from me.
Yeah, that's this Friday's. Yeah.
That's not this Friday.
Wait, what's the one?
25th. So that's
Next week.
That's next Friday.
Next week. Okay.
2 Fridays from now.
Yeah.
So that's the go home to the Saudi show. Right?
No.
Because that's in 2 weeks.
No. The Saudi show is 2 weeks from Saturday. So there's technically 3 SmackDowns until the Saudi show.
Oh, okay.
So that'll be, I assume they're doing SmackDown. They're probably going to tape SmackDown at Barclays, I would think, right? They probably won't do a live SmackDown. Do they do a live SmackDown in Saudi Arabia those weekends? No, they don't, right? They just do the main show. So I would think they'll either probably tape SmackDown this week or next week that.
I mean, it doesn't say that they're taping. I don't know if it does that, if it says that they're taping 2.
Yeah. I'm not really sure. I would assume, I don't remember that they do SmackDown live from Saudi Arabia like they do the other international areas. So I would assume that they'll probably do a taping. I'm not sure though. We'll have to see. But yeah, so technically
the Saudi Arabia show is when? It's in
November 2nd.
Beginning of November. Right.
November 2nd. Yeah. So it makes me think that they'll probably do a taping of SmackDown at that Barclays show next Friday for that show and the week after, which would be the go home. But for those of you watching NXT tonight, yeah, we have Wes Lee going one-on-one against Trick Williams tonight. That should be very, very good. That's going to be really, really good. Oh, Vancouver, really, for Survivor Series isn't getting a live SmackDown. Wow. Huh.
Oh, I wonder why.
Oh, yeah, because of the U.S. Thanksgiving, because that's on the Saturday after Thanksgiving, so everyone's going to be. So they'll be doing it.
But not in Canada. They don't celebrate Thanksgiving in Canada the way that we do.
Yesterday was Thanksgiving in Canada.
But not at the same time.
No, literally yesterday was Thanksgiving in Canada. Yesterday.
Oh, yeah, yesterday was.
Yeah.
Right. For Canada, though. So
yeah.
Why can't they do a live SmackDown?
Because the wrestlers are all from, or most of them are from America, so they'll be set home, not doing a live SmackDown for the holiday.
Oh, okay.
And then they'll probably just travel to Vancouver on that Friday, most likely, to get there. Because I think it's on a Saturday, right? It's a Saturday after U.S. Thanksgiving. But yeah. So we are on the road to Crown Jewel. I did hear, I know you said it a little bit earlier, Sandy, I did hear that there might be a new set design tonight on NXT. But NXT...
Why wouldn't the new set...
Oh, wait. Tonight's a triple threat. Oh, yeah, no, I'm sorry. That's a lie. Yes. tonight is a triple threat. It's Wesley. Oh my God, I literally just saw this graphic. But it looks like they're going Wesley. Yeah, it's Javon Evans, Wesley, and Ethan Page in a triple threat match. And the winner will face Trick at Halloween Havoc, which I think the winner will be Wesley. My bad. I saw that they did a little promo segment last week with Wesley and Trick. And I thought that's what we were getting already. But it should be good. It should be good. NXT has been hitting. NXT has quietly become one of, if not the best weekly wrestling show in all of wrestling over these last few months. It has been excellent. But yeah, look at that, Drew. 90 minutes in and out.
Yeah.
In and out, dude. That's pretty good.
I'm looking at the tickets for that SmackDown because I want to go to that SmackDown.
Oh, you'll be able to get them. Although they sell out everything now, so maybe not. I don't know.
Well, there's a bunch of tickets around still, but they're not cheap. That's the problem.
Yeah, nothing
the
ever.
highest seat that you can get, in the highest row in the arena is $80.
Yeah,
which is cheap, but that's like
it's not cheap
$80
for way the fuck up there. No, you should be spending not more than 20.
Yeah.
To sit up there, dude, you take one wrong step, you're dead.
Yeah. Have you been to the Barclays Center?
Oh yeah.
It's like you sit. It's a legitimate stadium style seating. So.
Sandy, thank you for the compliment. We're glad you're here. You're here almost every show with us, so we appreciate you greatly. We appreciate everybody that's always here with us. Hopefully, you have a great dinner and a great rest of your evening. We're gonna do the thing now where we plug ourselves and put ourselves over before we get out of here for the day. We will be back in just a few short days. Same time, 10 a.m. on Thursday for Firmly AEW. We have Wrestle Dream to talk about. We have whatever's going to be happening on Dynamite tomorrow night to talk about. We got a lot of stuff.
We already know a couple things that are happening, and I'm excited.
Hell yeah. All right. Yeah. Wrestling with the homies, our boys. We had them on Between Two Beards, me and Pluggo last week. Great group of guys over there. We're glad you could that we brought you over here. Hopefully you enjoyed it. We're here. Me and Drew are here for you every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. We talk WWE on Tuesdays. We talk AEW on Thursdays, and then Thursday nights at 8 p.m. me and Pluggo, where we had Wrestling with the Homies on last week, the flagship here at Love Wrestling Between Two Beards. I usually do it last, but I went first today. Because of the comments. So you can follow me here at JPJ Loves Gaming on all social media platforms and on Twitch, where we play a bunch of video games. I'll be live over there a little bit later on today. Drew, let the people know where they can find you, where they can follow you, and then you and I are going to get a little bit of our Tuesday afternoon back here, and we're gonna get on out of here, man.
Yeah.
One of my I don't know why I said that. That's one of my least favorite work tropes. You know what I mean? You have a meeting or you have a call and it's supposed to go from 10 to 12 and your boss ends it at 11:30 and they use that line. I'm going to give you back a little bit of time today. I'm going to give you back. Shut up. I've been sitting here for 90 minutes wasting my time. You've wasted my time every week on this call that the 2 items are important. The other hour and 20 minutes is a waste of time. Anyway, continue, Drew. Let the people know where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, at the Drew Nicholas. I'm on Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast. I'm on I can't talk. The post show for AEW Collision every Saturday, collecting the super chats and humper chats for Fightful, and follow Firmly LW on Twitter as well.
Do it. It's another work trope that I don't like. Let's circle back. Anyway, that's another one. How often do you hear that? Let's circle back.
I've heard that a few times.
Let's put a pin in this. Let's put a pin on this, and we'll circle back. Let's put a pin in it, and then we'll circle back. Kiss my ass. Anyway, love you all. Thank you for everybody in the chat. Appreciate you all. Me and Drew will see your lovely faces again on Thursday. Until then, y'all know the drill. Peace out.